Alright, hello, I'm going to see if I can do this video. It's 2:46 in the morning, and I'm super high and I'm super tired. I'm just about to crash, but I don't know, I figured maybe I'll give it a try. I had an idea to do a wacky wild video called I am the most powerful person in Boulder, because I discovered because I'm like a historian, and I discovered a sacred technique. I'm going to call it the rainmaker technique. Rainmaker technique is like, there's different kinds of rainmakers. There's the kind of one. In fact, I can think of three different kinds of rainmakers. The first kind of rainmaker would be like the Indians, who would be like, hey, 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 and like all of them together, and to ask for the rain so that they can have crop. And yeah, I think maybe that could have an effect on the crop, because you all have this intention and you all like somehow with your minds make it rain. That'd be interesting to do experiments and stuff. But and then the second type of rainmaker would be the like uh, like a person who, there was this movie I think even called The Rainmaker, starring um, Steve Martin, where he goes, it's like in the 20s, and he's going around, and there's a dust bowl in the 30s or something, in the Depression, and he's like he's charging people because he's supposed to be the rainmaker, and but I guess he goes from town to town and he's been scamming people, and so that's not the kind of rainmaker I'm talking about. But then you have like the third type of rainmaker, and that's the rainmaker who like well, I guess there's four kinds of rainmakers, because then the third type of rainmaker would be the actual cloud seeders, like that the ski resorts have. But then there's a fourth type of rainmaker, and that's the rainmaker that would be like knows history, and so they see where history is going, and so then they would like position themselves to be at the right place, and then they preach stuff, and then when it happens, they pretend that they were the one who made it happen. When it was, they knew it was going to happen anyway. Um, and and so they weren't really the one who made it happen. But the thing is that they get to stamp their personal signature on it. Okay, it's kind of like it's likening it to um, like those when you would the seal, like when the emperor would send a letter to another emperor, and to know that it was from that emperor, you would have the stamp on it. And so it's like this big like glob of wax, and then because it's wet, you stamp it, and then it dries, and it dries like that with the insignia of that king. And so it's kind of like that, like when there's this new technology that comes around that's about to create a new culture, that's there, only people aren't using the technology yet because they are like too busy with their lives and stuff. Um, well, if you come along, if and you create a framework out of that, all of that potential, that framework that you create is your creation. And so it's kind of like you're putting your stamp on it. And then it dries, and that's the framework by which everything else grows from. It's the foundation that everything else grows from in its image. For example, like with my website, I make a website, and it looks like nobody on YouTube, on the internet, is utilizing Google Earth right. I was looking at mountain biking trails and stuff when I was like looking at trying to trace trails to make them for my YouTube. I mean my Google Earth. And so there's some websites, like mountain bike websites, like mountainbiketrails.com or something, and I think there's like a couple of them for trails in Colorado. And you go to them, and they have like the list of the trails and the descriptions of the trails and the pictures and stuff. But you look at the map, and the map is on the actual website. And so if you want to look at the trail, you have to like scroll the map around and you have to zoom in and out of the map. But the problem with that is that it works really slow and you can't move, tilt it and spin around. And so it makes much more sense to just make the Google Earth, do it all on Google Earth. So people just click it, download it, and do it on Google Earth. And then if you have all the trails, you could do all the trails, and then you can do so much. There's so much more possibility for working with it because you can like activate all the different trails and look at all at once, and then take snapshots of it and all that, or even manipulate it, like cut and paste them together and make your own ones off of those. So so kind of lost my train of thought. So, oh yeah, so with my website, like I made up all the trails that go from Boulder to like 400 different mountains from Boulder. You could go for like from Boulder, like 1 day mountains. Um, and so when I make those trails, I'll trace out the routes, and so that's my routes. And so that's like me stamping my stamp on it. Actually, I just realized though that that's not true because if somebody else goes, you could. That's the beauty of Google Earth is you can you can like download it and then a minute change it. Just edit it. So I guess if somebody else does a mountain and they find out that the best route isn't the one that I trace, just by looking at the mountain, they can just fix it. But the thing is, it's my website. It's all on my website. So when people want to look at the trails on the Google Earth, if I already made all the 400 mountains, why would anybody else make the 400 mountains? There'd be no reason because the website would already be there. Like it's kind of like Facebook. Why would somebody else make another world social networking website? There's only one need for one. So if I make a website that has all of the mountain bike trails, why would somebody else make one? My website becomes the only website, and so then it's all in my image, my stamp, like the rainbow crystal theory language. Like all of it will be shown in rainbow crystalline language and stuff. Now the reason I'm saying this, I'm not like trying to be like egotistical and stuff. I'm not. I'm not like that. I don't think like that. I'm just a normal guy. But I think it's a good way to describe the phenomenon because it um, because that's kind of how much power people who live now have over like the world, like the history of, and so over so many people who aren't alive yet who will be alive in the future. And so that's how I think people should think. They should just be super like ambitious, and creative, ambitious in their creativity to try to create something that will then turn into something that will blossom into something really big, and in your image, like in your stamp. And so yeah, I think see, because I'm looking at Boulder as the canvas to paint on. I think like Boulder is the perfect example of like communism, what communism could be, pretty much like what the closest thing to communism, like, or socialism, because it's something that everybody owns. The land is that thing that is the one thing that everybody owns, and that you could make that everybody um, that you could that we should you could make a good argument to say that everybody should own. Like that song, "This land is your land, this land is my land." And Boulder's perfect because we have all of the mountains and hills and rivers and stuff, and to check out and explore through, and the wildlife, and so it's like the people's place. So like the quality of life of the poorest person in Boulder is like 10 times better than the quality of life as the richest person in Santiago, Chile, who may have a lot of money, but there aren't, the trail network system is so underdeveloped. They can't, if you consider riding your bike all day long, listening to audiobooks is the coolest way to live, best way to live, then they can't do that there because they don't have the infrastructure. So, it's kind of like what didn't Jesus in the Bible say, I am lower, like the highest human on earth is lower than the lowest angel in the sky. It's kind of like a whole difference of level difference, total valency level, different world. When you live in a place where everybody, I mean, because think about like if you could live in like a little hole, a tiny or a little apartment, or even be homeless, live under the bridge, and then spend all day every day riding up in the mountains through these great mountains. I mean, and you know that it's yours because everybody shares it, and it's all you have space to do it all because there's nobody competing for it all because there's so many trails that that person, yeah, that person, it's almost like the dude who lives in the big house, shelled up in the big house in Chile, even though they have better mountains there, would want to move up here. So that's why I think that building like utilizing Google Earth to create like all the trails and all the different ways that we could use riding on the trails. And so like for like my example, my idea is we all, because we have to prepare ourselves for when everything's automated. In the future, if we're going to survive, and we should assume that we're going to survive, we're going to survive for like a million years. So obviously we're going to make it perfect. We're going to have time to make it perfect, so let's make it perfect. And if it was perfect, then everything would be so automated, we would all have enough money to do whatever the hell we want. So, a lot of people would do this, a lot of people would do that, but a whole lot of people would be out there riding their bikes all day long because you can, like when you sweat, you can feel the breeze blow the, sweat off and blow it through your hair, and then you can hear the wind, and then you can smell all the different flowers, and see the animals, and then you can feel yourself with the G forces go around the corners, and then jump and fly through the air, and then land, and then you're going up the hill, and you're like testing strength with your friends, and then you can like test how your friends are faster than you on the climbs, but you're faster than them on the downhills and all this different kind of stuff. And you're exploring and you're comparing like all the different land that you're traveling through to different like tribal areas and like what I'm going to do, like recreating the Roman Empire on top of Boulder, like Boulder is Rome, and every different tribe in ancient Italy has a corresponding tribe here. So when you're traveling through, and even the battles in the same location and all the cities in the same location and the walls and the cities are the same size. And so you're like reliving Rome and history just by traveling through Colorado and going to those places again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate time. I'm going to make Roman history from whenever I start riding my bike. That's going to be like the equivalent of 753 BC when Rome first started. And then it's 50 times time condensed. So like 50 days in Rome is one day here. So then I'll just recreate history, Roman history. So everything that happened in Roman history happens here. So if there's a battle, like in like 50 miles from Rome and some 50 miles from Rome, I have to ride my bike out to a town 50 miles away in the same direction to that town and make that my ride. And so it's a battle. I guess I'll compare it to like my Strava or something, how well I do in the battle. But yeah, so it's like the cultural thing. And so that's why I'm the most powerful person in Boulder because I'm the most democratic because I'm using Google Earth to create something that everybody can use. Um, and that's the best way to do it. Oh, and also the transparency and the level of detail that I share in my writing is profession is the only truly, actually I think I'll call myself the world's only truly professional endurance athlete because I'm starting to get tired and this is getting complicated, but like other endurance athletes, they're not truly professional in the new model that we're going to have in the future. that we need to have in our future, because they kind of shadow the same model as our business world. You know, like in our business world, only the elites, like the top 1%, have enough money to travel all over the world and do whatever they want, buy whatever they want. But the rest of us can't. You know, and same thing with the professional athletes. Like there's only like enough room for like I don't know how many, like a couple hundred like professional endurance athletes, and then the rest of us who aren't like talented enough or whatever have to have our jobs. And so like the whole thing that professional athletes um, uh, strive for, the whole thing, the whole goal and thing that they focus on is doing well in the races. And so if somebody doesn't do well in a race, then they're all sad, you know, like you see pictures and videos of people getting all sad and crying and stuff because they didn't do well in a race because for whatever reason. But if because it all comes down to that one race, because they have to place. It's all about the top placement. Um, but if you have it, but that doesn't mirror the real world. You know, the real world is just like your daily life. You know, somebody a professional or somebody with a job. It's a professional because it's what you spend your time doing all day every day. You know, and so if you go to like if it's the world championships, you should look at it like just the test at the end of the year test. But it doesn't. But there's no consequences to how you do at it because the consequences are dispersed throughout the entire year equally. Because it matters. Well, all that matters is the life that you're living, and it doesn't even matter how fast you are. See, they're all worried about how fast they are. But like for example, with my bike racer level page, you have all the different levels and so you just like track yourself up and down the level. But some people, you're different levels at different times. You know, sometimes if you're like injured, have too many injuries, or you're too old, you just can't be like at the top level. But you can be at the top of your own level, whatever your category. Thusly, and if you're documenting your training, as thoroughly enough, then you're actually inputting your own personal data into the greater matrix, and it furthering the understanding of everything, like how our performance. And so um, and so yeah, people should see, because that's the purpose of professional athletes. Like that's their job. Their job is to um, um, help uh, develop faster bikes and make people strive to see how fast people can go, and give people the chance to get as fast as they can be, to show how fast everybody can be, and to inspire everybody else to try to be like them, and do it as much as they do, and make it look as make men look as cool as they do, and be as fast as they are, and all that kind of stuff. But you can inspire people even better if you just do it all day every day, and document yourself doing it, and like document yourself using every single second of your day to its fullest. Um, like what I'm talking, like with the bike school, where you're riding, you ride all day long or whatever you can do, all day every day, listening to your audiobook, and then you come home and then you talk about it, and you can talk about it when you're tired. Like me, I was just about to pass out today. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like sleeping just as before I did the video, but then I started talking, and now I'm like into it, And so you can do the same thing when you come back from your ride. You're tired and stuff, but a lot of times you're tired, but you still can't like fall asleep right away. So then you just sit and you talk for like an hour or whatever, while with your feet up and stuff, about the audiobook you listen to. Because when you're riding your bike all day long, you're not smoking weed, because you need to be able to breathe and have energy and everything. And so you can focus on the book more. And you're also not multitasking as much. You're only focusing on just going forward and like imagining, looking at the mountains and stuff, which provides the perfect opportunity to daydream, or focus on an audiobook, a history book. And if you're listening to a history book that has exactly the same thing to do with all of the mountains that you're traveling through, like you're listening to the story of the battle of the town that you're actually going to on that day, You're going to do a tour of the tribe that they're talking about in your book, then you're going to be even more interested. It's like you're tickling all of your senses to their absolute fullest. So it's like giving the plant that's growing the plant with all of their different nutrients all at once. And so firing all your rockets at once and blasting out into space. So um, yeah, so that's what professionalism is just is inspiring people to do that. Because if you can do that all day, every day, and then perform, like not just be a good athlete because you're all day every day, and be able to do all, but you can also perform like at the top in the world in terms of your knowledge that you learn from it, like so that's the best way to learn stuff. I mean, the best way to learn. I mean, when you're in school, and my experience in school is just sitting there listening to the teacher talk. So and so learning, yeah, just sitting there and learning, and people are really good at just sitting there and learning. So um, and they're developing listening. There's a huge industry now and a great opportunity also. If people become very proficient at learning auditorily or rather writing their books, it'll create another industry of people being able to teach stuff auditorily. Maybe with songs, it'll revolutionize the whole song industry. People will sing it and everything. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. And see, people don't do that. Like the professional triathletes, um, I was trying to Google earthing around because I was making my bike racer level. And I was just curious. My bike racer level pages, and I was just curious how much like the professional athletes ride and train and stuff. And it's just really vague. People don't really explain, and they don't do like daily, at least not that I know of, not the ones that I saw, daily um, inputs. And if anybody knows of one, that'd be cool to watch. Oh, I guess you could track people on Strava, but they're not with their like blogs, like everything that they did, like all of it, like sleeps per day, every single day, calories, training, stretching, food, like all of it, and then even maybe even talking about it, and then yeah, so so yeah, but my point, like to back to the original, I'm the most powerful person in Boulder. uh, what I meant was it's the stamp. I was just talking about the stamp, and because if it's like influential, and it's so then everything would grow in its image, and like if I build a rainbow crystallinism, people probably realize that rainbow crystallinism is the best way to portray lists of information, and if it's not, I'm really interested to see what's better than rainbow crystallinism. The other way that some people do it, they stagger colors, but it's not in a five column, but yeah, but that's that's basically the video. Like I'm the rainmaker. Like I can see in the future because I'm thinking about it, like what the effects of automation is going to have on everything. I can see what's going to happen, and I'm building the site, and then I make all like the trails, the mountain bike trails, and then people would look at the site or not even look at the site. I see what are the best trails are, and then people do the trails, and then I can be like, haha, I made the trails, and because I made the trails, they did the trails, even if that's not the case. I can claim that I can, in a weird roundabout way, I can claim that I caused it, thusly proclaiming that I'm the most powerful person in Boulder. And representing the whole people's thing. If you paint the people's canvas, Boulder, then you're like the painter of the people, and like kind of like the godfather of the city, the father of the city. The father of the city is the person who creates the city, you know, like Romulus. He built the wall around the city, the original wall around Rome, and and like that's what I'm doing. I'm actually literally building the ancient walls around, of ancient fantasy Boulder and on the trails and stuff. So so yeah, I'm gonna get started on that on January 1st, 2018 though, because I mean it started in the wintertime because like I'm really out of shape and I'm gonna be really out of shape then. And the problem is um, if I'm like if I don't want to ride outside, get in shape outside because like I get stomach aches and I get like the shivers and I get like tired and I want to smoke more weed and like I get bored and I want to like watch more video or whatever while I'm riding, or maybe even work on my website or listen to different music or I have to pee or something. And so it's a lot more cushy to just do it to just get into shape, like physical shape where it's not physically painful and stuff, and to ride like inside. And it's annoying to have to do that if it's summertime because then you feel like an idiot. But if you do it in the wintertime, you look outside and there's snow and it's pleasant to be inside. So and also I'm not working in the wintertime, so I have time to ride and I'll get to do the race across America. I'm going to start my riding with the race across America. Only I'm going to give myself double time because like the normal people, I think they get 10 days to do it. So I'll give myself 20 days because I'm half the strength and double the weight. So I go half the speed. And I don't even know if it's possible to do that because I'll probably have to sleep like 18 hours after the first day, but I don't know, maybe I can make it up later off of sheer willpower. And if I can't do it in 20 days, I guess I'll do it in a month and maybe be like, yeah, I did it in a month. So that's still good. So anyways, um, yeah, because I'm not going to do it until then because I have to finish my website. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And that's also another thing. I'm going to proclaim myself as the most powerful person in Boulder because I sat around on my ass for so long, getting so fat and smoking so much weed. It makes me kind of like, And so it's kind of like I don't know, man. It might be like a cannon person, like a cannon going out of a cannonball going out of a cannon when I finally start exploring the mountains and stuff. Listen to my audiobooks. It's going to be fun. And if not, I'm really looking forward to making the politics and economics sections on my website, like making graphs and charts of wealth discrepancy. Like why doesn't people make artwork? I want to look for it. Like I should look for it now. I haven't really looked for it yet. But yeah, all these different charts and graphs of all the different wealth discrepancy. Like this is how much Jimmy Joe spent on his winter weekend. This little graph. This is how much money 500 people spent in their whole lives. And just make a bunch of those, like Instagram it. But yeah, but I don't think I'll do that though. I mean, before I do that, I'd probably finish my website. I mean, my timeline or my like even my journals and stuff. But but yeah, no, I'm gonna do the writing in the beginning of January 1st, and then do that. I'm gonna get into it. I think I'm not gonna try to get faster bikes until I'm under 160 pounds though, because I'll probably if I got a nice fast bike in the beginning, I'd probably break it because I'm 200 pounds. But but yeah, but I even have songs. Um, we Oh wait, no, no, I'm getting carried away, dude. Um, oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Peace out.